All right, guys, we're back. Now we're live. Something in my eye. Welcome back to our live feed. As you're logging on, say hello. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. The best place to watch this is on YouTube because you get the screen shares, and we are going to screen share photos from this past weekend and also for the shows coming up this coming weekend. As you're logging on, say hello. Tell us where you're coming in from. And while we're waiting for everybody to get on here as well, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our YouTube channel sponsors. First one up is Prozis. Get all your supplementation, food, activewear, equipment, everything you could possibly need to optimize your sports nutrition at Prozis.com. You use code Cuties10. You can scan that QR code right there. We have a link in our description box on YouTube as well. And also Liquid Sun Rayz. So Liquid Sun Rayz is also our YouTube channel. Sponsors, best tanning company in the business. Cuties15 is the code for them. Scan that QR code, head on over, get all your skin prep, everything you need from them. And Sizzling Summer Suit Sale. That's the QR code up in the corner over here on YouTube that you see right here. Okay, this is our last time that we're doing the Sizzling Summer Suit Sale. It's our 9th year doing it. What's up from Canada? Hello. This particular package is our best one of the year with over 75% off on the full package. So check that out. Half the packages are gone already as far as they've already been purchased. And we opened at 1:30 today, or 1, I'm sorry. We opened at 1 o'clock today, but they just flew. So we've got half of the packages left. If you're thinking about doing it, there's payment plan options. So even if you're thinking about competing, in the spring or something, grab a payment plan that'll be ready for you to go when you're ready to compete next year. Yeah, QR code right there. It's open to the public now. Our VIPs got first to crack at it. Now it's open to everyone. So check that out. They're going to go fast now that it is open to everyone. We just posted about it for the first time like an hour ago. So the link is out to everyone at this point. Say hello when you get on here. If you're on Instagram, we are going to be screen sharing over on YouTube. So check it out on YouTube. If you can't get to YouTube, just go to my Linktree drop down box on Instagram and that'll take you to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on notifications, and you'll know when we go live. We go live every single week, at least on Wednesday, if not other days. So this is something I want you guys to pay attention to as well. If you did not watch Behind the Bikini, we launched a Behind the Bikini podcast this morning as well. We recorded that yesterday, launched it this morning. I am not going to be going to Tampa Pro this year. So what I'm going to do for that weekend is I'm going to purchase the live stream and I'm going to do a live watch here on my YouTube channel. I can't show the live stream here on the channel. I can't do that. It'll get my YouTube channel shut down. But what I can do is I can do commentary along with prejudging, just like as if I was there in the front row seats. We did this for the UK Arnold, and it was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of people that logged on. It was super early on Saturday morning because of the time difference, but we still had a ton of people that logged on, and we just talked back and forth through the chat. So get the live stream wherever you are, whether you're in Canada or close by or whatever, and we'll go through and do the live commentary together through the live stream for Tampa. Okay. This coming weekend, we will be at Masters Nationals. So we'll be there starting on Friday. It's going to be a long weekend. We have a lot of girls competing. Hopefully we'll come away with some pro cards. That would be fun. But other than that, we are going to jump into our wrap-ups and previews. There's a lot of shows, a lot of really good shows, a lot of really good competitors right now. So we are going to, let me pull up the chat here. There we go. Everybody's quiet tonight. Comment in. There we go. I was gonna say, comment in, say where you're from. Make sure I'm not here. I know I'm not here alone. I can see the eyeballs. I know we got eyeballs watching. I know I'm not here by myself. Talk to me. There we go. Now we got people going. That's why we always wait a few minutes to get these live feeds going, because it takes a few minutes for notifications to pop up and things like that for people to know they're actually on live. So Let's get started on these shows. Which one do we want to start with? Let's go ahead and start with the European show from this past weekend. We're going to go through this one. We've started going through the European shows more and more because they're getting deeper and more competitive. So this is the Euro Muscle Show Pro. I honestly did not watch any of this particular show. And with that said, too, most of these shows I have not gone through the photos at all. So this is my first time going through them with you because I just haven't had time. That's the biggest thing. Like usually I'll review everybody ahead of time, but I just haven't had time. So what's up from Michigan? We got Texas and Canada. I know that Kelby's in Texas as well. So let's just go through the top 5 here. We're starting to do European shows more and more again because the competition is getting a lot better and a lot closer to the current criteria, which is fantastic. So Raina was in 5th, I believe. I think I want to make sure I got the order right before I go through this. Yep. Rania, I think, 5th place. I have not even looked at these photos yet. So this is my first time looking at it with you guys. Let's take a look. Okay, so I like the suit color. It's very pretty. Not a fan of the lip color being quite so bold. Eyes are pretty, but the lip color is a little bold for the overall look. I would have toned down the lip color. She looks pretty muscular to me. The upper body looks pretty muscular. Like when you look at those biceps and her shoulders, she's got a lot of dense muscle there. This is something that we're seeing a lot in European shows. I feel like they are a lot thicker and denser, things like that. They're getting better. They're getting closer to the current criteria, but I still feel like she's very thick. Just in general, her muscularity is very thick here. She's also yanked up quite a bit in that front pose. She needs to relax and let her body just kind of flow out. She's just very tense. If you're one of my posing clients, I always tell you guys just kind of relax and release. She's really tied up in here through the traps and everything. Could just be nerves, but she needs to let that go. Let's take a look at a back shot here. Okay, so back shot, she is bending over too far. I can tell you that already. She's really bent over. You can see she's pushing really hard. She's not, her upper body doesn't look like it's bent too far over, but it's almost like she's pushing back towards us a lot. That's doing a few things. It's making her very, very hard through the hamstring tie-ins. Makes her legs look a little bit thicker as well. And it actually diminishes her glutes a little. So the reason why we have you guys stand up in your back poses is because it actually helps the glutes stay full and round out. This makes her look very lower body dominant right here, the way that she's posing. So I would just stand up. Bottom line, I would just stand up. She's just bent over too much. And again, I just think her muscularity is a little bit too much, that kind of thing too, which again is unfortunately normal for a lot of these European shows. So she's just a little over the line. She does have some full roundness, but her conditioning's a little bit too hard. Also, her hair's a little too long, and it's a little bit jagged here, so just kind of straighten that and flatten it out. I like the overall look, like her look, like the suit and everything like that. But she's just a little bit too muscular. Whoa, what just happened? I don't know what happened to my screen. There we go. I don't know what just happened. My whole screen went black. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Francesca was next. This is a common thread that we're seeing with Francesca. Francesca is a previous Olympian. We've talked about her several times on this podcast because she has been competing several times. She's getting into the top 5. She's getting to that first call out, but she's hitting like the bottom of the first call out. Now, this is a pose here. We can see in her front pose, she has her hair off of her shoulders, and you can see why most of these shows she's been putting the hair down the front of her shoulders. She's got an incredible V taper, but for bikini, this is too much. This is too much of a width in her back. It's past the criteria. she's got some fullness, some roundness. I do like her shoulder and everything here. I think that's actually on par, but again, it just makes her look a little bit too extreme because of this lat flare here. I don't know exactly how you fix that because that's just how she's built. You know what I mean? So, but what it does do is it does make her upper body look quite big in comparison. I like this. I like this suit color on her. I think the hip straps are a little too high. I'd like to see them a little lower. It actually makes her glute kind of drop off. If she brought this hip strap down a little bit, it would help to round the glute out a little. That might make her waistline look a little bit longer, may make this V look a little less extreme. So a lot of that could just be an angle thing with this connector right here. Just pull it down a little. That would help her, I think, with her particular frame. Other people, not so much, but with her, yes, I think that would help her. Again, she's very dense. She doesn't have as much muscle as the last girl that we just saw, so I think that's probably why she beat her in the lineup. But she's just got that density quality to her muscle. And then we have Chara. Sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right. Again, these European names are difficult to pronounce sometimes. Again, pretty girl, very pretty girl. Front pose needs a little bit of work. It's almost like she's kind of leaning back a little bit. So she needs to stand up tall. I'd fix the twist in the arm. She's, again, really a lot of muscle, just a lot of muscle in general. She, again, looks a little bit better than Francesca. We got a little bit more fullness to her. She doesn't have quite the extreme of that V taper that we were seeing with Francesca. So I understand, again, why she would beat Francesca here. I would just rework this pose a little bit. This pose is just a little bit wonky. Probably needs to just stand up tall. It just looks like she's kind of bent backwards a little bit. Do like the suit color. The suit color is really pretty. She's another one that has a very extreme V and that's in the suit bottoms as well, and doesn't really need that. This is about as close as we've got to a fully posed back pose with her. She's not posed there. Yeah. Unless we've got another page of them. Let me see if there's another page. I don't think there is. Nope, it's just that one page. So this is the closest that we have to a fully posed back pose for her. I don't want to judge this one too much because she's not fully posed in this. Her hands aren't on her legs. To me, I think her conditioning probably is a little bit over the line again. It looked like it from the front, so I'm assuming it's going to be from the back as well. To me, this looks a little bit more balanced from the back. Oh, you know what we didn't do? I did this to Francesca last time too. We didn't pull up Francesca's back shot. I don't know why I forget to pull up her back shot. I did that with the last show too. And I've just done that with Francesca. I haven't done it with anybody else. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sorry, Francesca. Not what I meant to do. She's got 2 pages. Let's see what Francesca has on the second page. Nope, she's only got. So they don't have fully posed back poses here either. So again, I don't like to judge the pose if it's not fully posed. So with Francesca, again, I think that her conditioning is probably pretty decent. I don't want to say too much because she's not fully posed here, but I think she just needs more size in her glutes. I think she just needs more glutes. So again, don't want to say a whole lot here because she's clearly in motion and not actually posing. Same thing with the other girl. I don't want to say a whole lot about her back pose because she's not fully posed here. So hard to judge that when they're not in that pose completely. That was her right here. So there's Chara. And then we have Christina in second, which we've talked about Christina several times. Her critique from me all last year was her posing. She always made herself look a little thinner than she actually was. This year, she's fixed that quite a bit. I still think she needs work on this front pose. For some reason, a lot of these European girls just really want to open up that upper body and kind of yank back. That's what it looks like to me here. This is definitely better than what she was doing last year, but as I've said about her in a few of these shows, she put on a lot of muscle. And what we're looking at is some really thick legs here and some really thick biceps. And that's not bikini, right? So this is just too much. It's just too much muscle. So if she was to bring this package over to the US, she would look huge next to people. So they got to be careful about this muscularity. They're definitely getting more muscular. But with that said, a lot of times these European shows now, we're seeing the criteria being brought down a little bit more, which is good. So they are trending in the right direction. It's just going to take a little bit of time, like I've mentioned before. They've only been at this for a few years in Europe, and they've just got to tone the criteria down more than anything else. Rookie, we've seen her a few times this year already. She's placed, top 2, that kind of thing. So we figured that she was going to get a win at some point here. This is a pretty good pose for her. There's sometimes she's looking a little bit lower body dominant, that kind of thing. Her conditioning is very, very hard. We're seeing all this definition here. She's very hard. We're seeing all of this definition, and it's almost like striations in the midsection. Very hard. She's got vascularity through her arms and stuff like that too. I'm assuming just because she's been competing for several shows that this is what's happening, because she's been competing for several shows. The first couple of shows we saw her in this year, she didn't look quite this hard. And I think her body's getting to that point where she's just too lean. That's what happens after you've competed for quite a bit. But here at this particular show, she was rewarded for it. So I do think she looks a bit better when she's a bit harder than when she's softer, because when she's softer, she looks unbalanced. But I do think that this conditioning is over the line. Again, when we're looking at her hamstrings, her hamstring tines are really, really sharp through the back here. So she would benefit from standing up a little taller. She's bending into the knees. A lot of these girls are bending into the knees in their back pose too. Stand up and don't bend into the knees quite so much. And that will actually release a lot of this, and you're not going to see those really, really tight hamstrings and things like that in the back. And again, it would balance her better, because from the top, she looks bottom heavy because of the way she's posing. Hair is a little bit too long as well. So again, a lot of this stuff with these European girls comes down to posing, how they're presenting themselves on stage, and just the overall muscularity and conditioning. Shapes are good. The shapes are looking very good. It's just how they're presenting those shapes need some tweaks. So again, in general, I think that this is getting better. I think overall the criteria is being matched a little bit better, but they've still got a little ways to go. And I still think when these girls get over here to the US to compete in the Olympia and things like that, they're going to have a hard time. They're going to have a hard time when they get here. So that was the European show right there. Let's go to, is that Vancouver? Where's Vancouver? Hold on, let me find Vancouver. I pulled Vancouver up, didn't I? And Republic of Texas. I know I pulled Vancouver up. What did I do with it? All right, give me just a second here. I'm going to pull Vancouver up. That's what we're going to do. I thought for sure I had a window of Vancouver up. I know I pulled it up. Hang on, we're going to get there. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. There's the Pro Card scorecard. Give me just a second here, guys. I'll get this contest up. I might have X'd out of it on accident. Okay, so Vancouver. Pulling up in the competitors now. Again, I have not looked at these competitors at all. I've seen some coverage on social media, but that's as far as I've gotten as far as reviewing these girls. So this is first looks with you, right along with me. Okay, so Sarah was in 5th. This was a small show. I think there was, what, 9 maybe? So let's take a look at Sarah. Here's a front pose for her. This pose needs a little bit of work. She needs to relax the arm, let the shoulder round out. She looks a little grainy to me. Maybe it's just the photo and how it's taken, but to me, she looks pretty grainy through the midsection, the quads, that kind of thing. Her conditioning looks a little bit over the line for me in this particular photo. Let's take a look at some more of the pictures and just see if it's the lighting or if it's actually her physique. Again, I haven't looked at these photos yet, so let's take a look. We don't have a fully posed back pose. Hate that. I want a fully posed. Maybe there's another one. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Fully posed. We got one. We got a fully posed. There we go. I feel like she might have some splotchiness in her tan is what we're looking at. Like I'm seeing some splotchiness here. She does look pretty tight. Maybe she's a little flat. This tan looks a little off to me. It looks like she's dark through here and then light up on the top. It's almost like she has a toilet seat ring. Again, that could just be the lighting, but it looks like a toilet seat ring. I suppose when we go through the rest of these photos, we're going to see if it's actually the lighting or if it's her. So I feel like she's a little flat here. I just feel like it's flat. I think that she's conditioned okay, but I just don't think she's filled out. Next in line was Tiana. Here's the front pose. Yeah, so by looking at her, we can now tell that the last girl was definitely over the line with conditioning because Tiana's not. She's pretty good with the conditioning right here. I would say she just needs to work on her overall flow to her physique. Her legs are relatively long in comparison to her upper body, so she probably needs to add a little bit of shoulders, work on twisting this waistline a little bit more in that front pose. I actually like the fullness to her physique. I think she just needs to add a little bit of curve in different areas. Probably just up on the, like I said, up here, but a lot of this could be fixed just by tweaking this pose a little bit. Pretty girl. But she's definitely fuller. So it's not the lighting, it's the actual physique that we're looking at for the last girls that we were just talking about. Okay, here's the back shot. Yeah, I think her conditioning is good. Now we are seeing that shadowy light here again, so it wasn't a tanning issue on the last girl. It's just the lighting issue. So it's a hard light down, so hitting the top of the glutes a little bit harder than the rest of the physique. So I do think that the lighting is what's doing it, not the actual tan itself. Probably just needs to pop a little bit more glutes. She looks a little flat as well from the back, but not as bad as the last girl. She just needs to fill out a little bit more, but I would say more so with her, it's just adding some more upper glute, some more size to the top of her glutes. That would really pop her from the back. I actually like her back pose, except that her knees look like they're bent in a little bit. So she needs to work on twisting those out. I'm guessing her hamstrings are probably pretty tight. Just looks like she's not really able to open that up too much. She probably needs some mobility work. Okay, Brianna. So I do remember seeing pictures of this girl. She's very hard. She's very hard. Conditioning is way too hard here. A lot of vascularity through the arms and through the shoulders and everything here. Ribs everywhere. Like this is way beyond conditioning for bikini. Way too much. She could put on probably a good 3-4 pounds to fill that out, and then she'd probably be better as far as her conditioning is concerned. This is just too lean. Let's see. So that's her fully posed one. And then from the back, she needs more glutes. So she's mostly legs from the back. She's another one where she's kind of squatting into this a little bit, and she's pinching her upper back a little bit. So this pose needs to be reworked a little. Open the knees up a little bit, stand up a little taller, open the back up, that kind of thing. But she's definitely too hard on the conditioning, and I would say she needs to add some more size to her glutes as well. Her legs are a little bit overpowering the back. All right, Julie took second. So this girl's got a really pretty shape. Very pretty shape. I would say she probably needs a little bit more shoulders. This conditioning looks pretty good. She's nice and full. Nice V-taper into the waistline. I like the suit color. I like her overall look. Kind of reminds me of like a 1970s kind of, hippie chick look. I like it. I think it's pretty. But I think she needs more size, some more roundness to her shoulders to match her lower body, just to balance her upper and lower. I think she's doing a really good job on this pose. This pose looks really good on her frame. I think her conditioning, she's nice and full. I think she just needs a little bit more size on top. Let me find a back pose. No back poses. Well, damn. Yeah, no fully posed back poses, no back poses at all. I'm wondering if she'd even hit one. Let's see if there's one with a comparison shot. I don't know if there's any comparison shots. I didn't look. Let's see. We'll pull up a comparison shot real quick. Here's one. She's not in this one though. That's interesting. Is it this one? Yep, this is it. That's her. Okay, so here's her back shot here. Actually, really nice projection to those glutes. Has some tanning issues going on a little bit. Actually, this is Ashley, and she's got some tanning issues there too. We're going to talk about Ashley in a second because she did win the show. Needs to stand up a little taller. Again, she's bending into the knees too much. All of these Canadian girls were all bending into the knees too much. I guess that's a posing thing that they're being taught or something. But we're seeing a lot of splotchiness on the glutes. That said, even with the bad tan, she still has the best glute pop that we've seen of the girls so far. Upper body needs to be a little bit wider. She needs to cut her hair a little bit. And then she just needs to stand up a little taller too. But overall, really nice projection actually on the glutes. Too bad that the tan was so messed up. And then Ashley did win it. Let's take a look at her front shot. All right, so here you can see she's nice and full. Conditioning is good. All the things are good. The only thing that I see on her that bothers me now, like when she gets into the fullness, I think it's actually a pretty good look on her. She still has a little bit of this ab distension here. So she's not quite doing the vacuum like she used to be. That's good. I think all of this looks good. I think her actual pose and shape looks really good. She's nice and full. I just like to see her get rid of this. That's the one thing right there. And I don't know what that's from, whether it's just digestive or what it is, but maybe just I don't know, something to get rid of that little pooch. That's the only thing that I'm seeing with her front pose now that I'd really like to see her fix. And then I think she's fully posed here. Yep. And back shot. So when we saw her in the comparison shots, we saw a little bit of tanning issue. She has a little bit of splotchiness right in here. It's hard to see when you're here. She's here by herself. We did see it in the comparison shots, but here it doesn't look so bad. I would say this is a pretty good back shot for Ashley. I don't think it's her best. I think her conditioning is good. I don't think she's quite as full as she has been at some shows. Also, she needs to cut her hair too. And I would also take these arms and bring them down a little bit. I think they're out too far. Let those delts pop out a little bit on the side. Of course, she could be kind of in between a pose here. We've only got one fully posed back shot, so she may not be fully posed here. This may just be an in-between. But to me, like, she looks good here. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think this is the fullest we've seen her glutes look. I think from the front, she looks pretty full. So I don't know. It could just be the lighting. Again, because it looks like we've got a hard light coming straight down from the top at this particular show. So it could just be kind of blurring the fact that she does have the projection. But like I said, to me, I think this is great conditioning. I think she just needs to pop the glutes a little bit more. But overall, I mean, she won the show hands down, and I agree with that. I don't think there's anything anybody would disagree with that. So that's Vancouver. We're going to go to Republic of Texas next. So this was a big show. It's always a pretty big show. I saw a few photos on social media prior to looking at NBC News Online. And between this one and between Atlanta, I saw pluses and minuses between the top two girls, between Ashlyn and Raina. And going through the photos, I still kind of agree with my pluses and minuses. I still believe that the judging was correct. I think it was spot on for both, but I'm going to show you guys where I see some improvements that could be made, that kind of thing. So this is Gabby. Did I pull up? Maybe that's what I did. So this is Gabby, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think what I did is I pulled up. No, that's a comparison shot. What did I do? I don't know what I did with Vancouver. Anyway, we figured it out. It's just bugging me what I did with the tab that I had pulled out. So anyway, so Gabby. So let's look at Gabby. Yeah, beautiful girl. Really, really pretty girl. I think in general, she looks pretty good as far as conditioning, overall look is concerned, fullness, all of that. I would just like to see her adjust this pose a little bit. She's a little too straight on. I'd like to see her go a little bit more sideways. It could be because she's off to the side a little bit on this platform. It looks like this was the box right here and it was right over the seam. So it looks like she's off to the side, which is smart. But that could also be why she looks like she's too straight on. But in general, I think this is actually pretty good. I would just relax this. This looks a little bit weird to me. It looks a little uncomfortable to me. But this front shot looks pretty good. I would just, again, just adjust the pose a little bit. That's always something to think about too when you're on stage, is you don't want to end up stepping on seams on the stage. From the back, pretty good. Needs to be a little bit tighter. Just a little bit tighter from the back. I'd like to see her hair just a touch shorter. Really good projection, really good overall like shape to this. She just needs to be a touch tighter from the back, so we see just a little bit more of that hamstring tie-in. We're talking like a pound, maybe, you know what I mean? And then I think she's pinching her back a little bit as well, so she'll probably just open up the back a little bit. But overall, this is actually, she's got a lot of potential with this back shot. Just overall, she's got a lot of potential. She just got to tweak a few posing things, a few conditioning things. Beautiful look, though. Really beautiful look. Lana. So Lana, this was her first show back. She's been off stage for over a year. And I think it was a really good first showing back. I think there's a few tweaks she could make. Really pretty look. I think she needs to be a little bit more conditioned. She's a little bit soft. This pose is close, but it's a little bit off. So she needs to relax this arm, and this foot needs to come in a little bit. I don't mind the toe out and knee forward. I actually like that look, but it's out a little bit too far. I would bring it in like an inch or two, just test that. But it just makes her look like she's like this gazelle, right? So I would just bring the toe in just a little bit, like right to here, like where her heel is right now is where her toe should be. That, and then she needs to relax the arm, because by doing this with the arm, it really diminishes the shoulder. And, you know, you could sit here and say that this was a in-between shot, but it's not. When you look at her front pose, that's how she's hitting her front pose. So when you look through all of these shots of her front pose, she doesn't ever relax her arm. Her arm is always stuck out. So she just needs to relax that arm down, even up here. She's got that arm really, really far out. And I'm assuming, because I know I hit my front pose relatively similarly to her, I'm assuming that's because she's trying to yank that and twist that waistline. And in doing so, it's hard to keep that arm down. She just needs to train herself to keep the arm down. Back shot looks great. She just needs to be tighter. So again, we were just talking about she needs a little bit more here, like another pound. This is a very well balanced back shot. Just needs a little bit tighter on the conditioning, just a touch tighter on the conditioning. Hair length is really good on her. This is a perfect hair length. We can see that lower back. She's good. So I would say just work on that conditioning and fixing the front pose a little bit. Solid. Jordan. So Jordan's a tough one for me because she's just so friggin' gorgeous and stunning, but she's just too muscular. Um, she's over the line when it comes to criteria, when it comes to muscularity. Her shape is ridiculous and she's beautiful. Everything about her is gorgeous. She's just too big. This is big for bikini, right? Um, Everything about this is just a notch too high. So like I don't know how you fix that exactly. Because the shape is great, and again, her overall look is beautiful. It's just that she's just over the line on size. Um, she's kind of moving in this one. She's moving a lot of them. So here, that's pretty close. She's a little bit off on her back pose because of that front pose. Like she's tilted onto the left side because she poses on the left. This is her front pose side on the left. She just needs to get some mobility work done. But again, when you look at her, she's got a lot of muscle. She's very conditioned as well. Shape is ridiculous. Her shape is insane. Like she's got an amazing shape. She's got a layer too much of muscle on her. So all over. It's not like one piece is bigger than the rest. It's not. She's very well balanced. That's why she's getting in these first call outs. But in order to get up to that winner circle again, she's gonna have to downsize just a little bit, like all over around her whole body. And I don't know how you do that exactly, to be honest with you, because like I said, I have a hard time with this because she's just so freaking stunning, and I love her physique. Reina, so Reina, I actually liked her package here better than World Clash where she won. I think she adjusted her pose a little bit in the front pose. I like this suit color better. I like her hair and makeup better here. I still am not sold that this is her front pose for sure. I think there's some things she can do to tweak this front pose and make it pop a little bit more, whether it's just opening up a little bit here or something, because she just has this really long waistline here. I'm not sure exactly what she's got to do, but this is better. This is on trending in the right direction as far as her front pose is concerned between this one and World Clash. I would just like to see it a little bit different. So just keep trying and testing some spots and just seeing where you can figure out the best solution. Because I think that the place that Ashlyn really beat her was from the front, 100%. I think you can make an argument for her in the back. When I saw photos online, I felt like I actually liked Reina's look from the back better. I like the fullness, the pop, the 3D pop of her back pose. I like the conditioning here. She was tight, but she was not over the line with the conditioning. And I felt like her back pose was really, really well balanced. And just again, the projection of her glutes stood out to me. So I felt like she was competitive with Ashlyn from the back. I felt like from the front is where Ashlyn beat her for sure, like hands down beat her. So I still give Ashlyn the back shot too, but I feel like Reina was competitive from the back. Ashlyn from the front, this is probably the best Ashlyn that I've seen as far as her front pose is concerned, period. Just her shape and everything like that. So she's always had a really good shape from the front regardless, but now she's good with her conditioning. She's not too hard. She's not too soft. She's got that teeny tiny little waistline, and she's slightly open on this toe, which gives her more shape overall. She looks sideways, but not. She's open just a touch, just enough. The suit this time around was much better as far as the fit is concerned. I think I'd still like to see her try to pull it up a little bit more. To me, I feel like she could tie it a little tighter up top, and I think that would look better. But it is definitely better than what she had before. In general, I think this is the best Ashlyn we've seen from the front, hands down. Take a look from the back. Okay, she's posed here. There we go. She's pinching. Let me see if she unpinches. Nope, that's where she's staying. So she's pinching her upper back. So I would just relax those arms, those hands down on her legs. Where I felt like she needed improvement here was I like her conditioning, I like her pop, I like her flow, but I don't like the arms up like that, pinched up like that. And I feel like there's not quite enough delineation between the legs and the glutes. Like I feel like her glutes could pop a little bit more projection wise, like towards us, and then that would make it like the right balance. Because I felt like her glutes and legs kind of formed together, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense in what I'm saying. But I think where she could improve between now and Olympia, and I don't know if she's planning on doing any more shows, but I think where she could improve between now and Olympia is, again, fix the top part of this pose, and then fix the projection of the glutes coming out at us. I think the shape of them is great. I just like to see more coming this way, right? So that's where I felt like Raina had a little bit of an edge on her from the back, was the projection. But I do think that I think that Ashlyn is on track to be like her best package yet. I mean, period. So, and that was Republic of Texas. So we went through all of them. And lastly, we have Atlanta. And we are going to preview, I think, because I think I brought them. I think I still have them up. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, we are going to preview the shows for this weekend too, because we're going to run through them really quick. But we're going to go through Atlanta top 5. So Rhoda, she's been doing really well the last few shows she's been in. We figured out, this is something I wanted to highlight too, because she's definitely a Masters competitor because she has won a 35 and over show. So she's at least 35, if not older. Don't know exactly. And I just wanted to kind of dispel this myth that if you are competing in Masters shows, you're not going to place in Open, because clearly she's top 5 in Open. I do like this suit on her, but I think it might be a little bit too much on her. As far as her skin tone with this color, I don't know. I'm torn. I do like it. It might be a little bit too bright for her, just a little bit too bright. This pose is good, but I feel like she's sinking into it a little bit. I'd like to see her up taller a little and just open up and look a little bit more confident in this pose. To me, it's just like she's kind of almost like bad posture. Pose itself looks good. She just needs to be a little taller. Let's take a look at her back shot. There's a lot of photos from this particular show, so it takes me a minute to get through them. I'm going to make a point of that too when we get to our top 2 with these photos and stuff too. So, dang, there's a lot of pictures. I think it's fully posed. No, she's not fully posed in any of these. Well, this one's close, so we're going to share this one. So she's not fully posed here. I'm going to see if I can find another one where she is. Give me a second. I'm going to go through the last page. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, no fully posed shots. If she was fully posed, I think this is actually a really good shot. It's hard to tell with this lighting. It looks like she's a little washed out from the back, but I think her conditioning is fine. I think she's got good projection here. I think that she's got a nice wide V taper in the back and everything as well. Again, you can see it here. She's transitioning into it. It's kind of crazy. She's got 5 pages of photos and not one fully posed back shot. So that tells you a little bit of something there too. Make sure that you hit your back shot long enough so they can get a picture of it. I think she's just probably a little bit narrow and probably needs to build out a little on the glutes this way, is what I'm guessing. Pretty close though. Like I think if she just probably works on getting that upper outer glute a little bit, I think that's probably where she needs to improve a little. But I think her conditioning is pretty good. She does look a little bit washed out back here, but that could just be the lighting as well. And I think that is the lighting, because I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that on the other girls too. So I don't think that's her. I think that's the lighting. Tamikia, this is her first show back in a couple of months. She did a yellow suit for the first time. I do like yellow on some people. I think I like the yellow on her. Maybe a little bit of a different shade of yellow. This looks a little bit like she's got some lighter stones on there. Maybe just a pure bright yellow. Conditioning looks pretty good here. I know one of the things with her has been conditioning. Her makeup looks a little meh to me. I would like to see her makeup pop a little bit more. when we're looking at her upper body, she's definitely got some vascularity going on. So she's definitely very, very conditioned in her upper body. So got to be careful of the vascularity. They've said it several times. They don't want to see vascularity in bikini. So that's one thing I would be paying attention to. But when I'm looking at her lower body looks pretty good as far as conditioning is concerned. Let's take a look at her back shot. Hopefully she's got one. I took a lot of photos here. Let's see if we can get to a back shot. Here we go. Yeah, I think her conditioning is pretty good. Needs to relax the elbows, so bring the hands down. Conditioning looks pretty good from the back. I would tweak this pose just a touch because we're seeing same thing that I kind of said with Ashlyn. We're seeing a lot of leg and not a lot of glute. So just kind of work on manipulating this pose a little bit because I think her conditioning is right where it needs to be. I think she just needs to maybe bring the toes in and just twist the knees out, something. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. We're missing a little bit on this pose. So just start testing some stuff, tweaking some stuff, see if you can get into the right spot. And then be careful about pinching this back. Like she's pinching pretty hard right here, and then just letting those arms kind of relax down a little bit too so we don't poke those elbows out. But overall, I think this is a better package than what she had on. I think Charlotte was the last time she was on stage. So I do think this is a better package. She just needs a few little tweaks. Okay, Masa. So we've talked about Masa every week, basically. She's been competing a lot, trying to get that Olympia qualification. Let's see if she did anything different here at this show. She looks like, to me, she opened up her front pose a little bit, which is good. We talked about that. She was posing very, very sideways. This, to me, looks better. I still think she needs more shoulders. She does look a little bit fuller than last week, but I still want to see more pop to the shoulder just to match her lower body. Waistline looks really super tight. This is good. I do like the stance on this front pose better than what we've seen from her in previous weeks. I definitely think that's a big improvement with the pose for sure. Let's take a look at back shots. I got a lot of pictures, guys, a lot of pictures. Okay, she's fully posed here. So still we're missing from the upper body. So lower body looks good. I'm not mad at the lower body. She could use a little bit more projection on the glutes, but what we're missing is right here in the delts and shoulders. She's got to figure out a way to open her back up a little bit and get her a little bit wider up top so she can balance herself from the top to bottom. So that's where she's going to have struggles until she actually has the width up there. And I think some of it could be posing, but I do think she needs to build some as well. And Ashley. So Ashley came in second. Let's get a front pose up. I really liked Ashley's front pose. I felt like it was very confident and relaxed at the same time. This was probably the best front pose that I've seen from her. Sometimes she tends to look like she's a little bit dense, that kind of thing. I mean, I see that here, but not as much as we have seen. I actually really like this front pose on her. I do like the red suit on her as well. I think this is overall probably one of the better front poses that I've seen from her, period. I do think this is a very good shot for her. I'm not sure there's a whole lot I would change. Now notice, I wanted to point this out. We got to the 5th page. I looked at this before. We got to the 5th page before we even got to a fully posed front pose for her at the front. A lot of these girls are doing a lot of posing up at the top of the stage, and there's no light back there. So there's no sense in doing a ton of posing up at the top of the stage till you get down to the box because the lighting's not great back there. So if you're doing a lot of posing back there, cut some of it down. Back pose looks really good. I was actually, when I was seeing photos of comparisons and stuff online, the one thing I really liked about Ashley's back pose was the projection in her glutes. I do think she probably needs to just relax that upper body a little bit. She's got long legs here. So when you're trying to balance a frame, it's kind of the same situation we were talking about with Tamikia, that kind of thing too. You just got to relax that upper body so you look a little bit bigger, a little bit wider in the upper half so it balances you. But overall, I think this conditioning is really good. I was really happy. Like, I liked seeing the projection You can see it a little bit in these photos, but I really saw it better on the stuff that we saw on Instagram, like videos and things like that. I think this was a very, very good package for her. And I think the only reason why she probably came in second is just genetics. So I'm going to go into that in a second when we're talking about the difference between her and Jasmine that won. All right, so same thing with Jasmine. We're in the 5th page before we get to front poses. So a lot of the posing was done at the top, the key. We don't really need to do all that because, again, it's not the best lighting in the world. It's dark back there, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind when you're putting your posing routines together. So one of the things that Jasmine did good at this show in comparison to the last one is she stood up taller in this front pose. I mentioned that the last show she was yanking backwards. She corrected that here. She's standing up a lot taller here. And what I was talking about in reference to genetics is Jasmine's waistline is very, very hard to beat. Jasmine's got a very, very tiny little waistline. So when you put her next to Ashley, it just blatantly exposes the fact that Ashley's waistline is not as small. Ashley's waistline looked great, but genetically it's thicker, bigger than Jasmine's is. So when you're talking about that, it's just a difference in genetics right there from the front. So in that regard, if Jasmine is on point, she's going to be hard to beat from the front because of her structure, because of her actual waistline, the way she's put together. Find a back shot here. Okay, back shot is here. So overall, I think this is a very good back shot, especially for Jasmine. I think this is a really good back shot. So one of the things that I've mentioned before that I wanted to see her work on was just more of that upper outer glute pop and less legs. This is it right here. So I think between now and Olympia, she needs to continue to work on getting a little bit more upper outer glute pop and a little bit more projection out with the glutes. But this is the best I've seen her glutes look, period. So upper body's nice and relaxed. The only thing that I would probably change is I would bring the hands in a little bit so we don't see them, right? She's keeping the upper body relaxed though, so that's good. This is what I was talking about before. She's not poking her elbows out. She's got the arms nice and relaxed down. She's just got to bring the hands in just a little bit so we don't see the hands from the back. But hairline is good as far as where it hits. It's not too long, none of those kinds of things. So I do think this is probably one of the best back shots that I've seen from Jasmine, period. Again, where she can improve is more upper outer glute and more projection, but she's toned the legs down quite a bit. Even just some posing tweaks and things like that from the previous week, this is better. So really good job on that. Okay, so that covers all of our shows from this past week. I'm going to pull up the pro list for this coming week, and we're just going to talk real briefly about each one and who's in it, and who we're going to be paying attention to, because there's 3 more shows coming up this weekend. So type into the comments if there is anything that I missed or any questions that you have over the stuff that I just said, but we're going to go into the pro list for this weekend next. Okay, there. Okay, so first one is Columbia. So just real quickly on the Columbia one, the 2 people to really be paying attention to are going to be Evie and Roxana, both previous Olympians. Evie just won over there at the Portugal Pro, so she just won Portugal. She is Olympia qualified. Roxana has not won a show yet this year, but she's been placing, what is she? She was 8th. So she was 8th at the Flex Pro. She's been at the Olympia, I think, twice before, something like that. So those are really your top 2 for Columbia. So again, we're going to go through these pretty quickly here. This one is your Patriots Pro. So this one's a little bit more dicey. We do have Ashley Kaltwasser in this one, so obviously she's going to be a front runner, clearly going to be a front runner here. But we have a few other people to be paying attention to. Rhoda, we just talked about her at Atlanta. We've got Kimberly Bonilla, who's been placing top 5s, first call outs. We have Erica De Vera. So she was just in Atlanta, and she's been placing top 5s too. Let me see if we got, I just want to get her on her face. There we go. So you can see who she is. She's been placing top 5s. little bit inconsistent with the placing. Sometimes she's in the top 5, sometimes she's in the first call out, sometimes she's in the second. But she's definitely one to be watching for this show too. Then we have Yume, who has been placing, again, top 5s. Another one to be paying attention to in this particular show. Alice. So Alice has not been on stage for over a year at this point, but when she was on stage in 2022, she was doing very, very well. This was 2023. She did a couple of shows, as you can see. So she did decent, but then she decided to take some time off and just work on putting some size on and fixing her overall shape, because her overall muscularity, because her shape is ridiculous. So she's definitely one that could be a sleeper here to pay attention to. And the other ones we already talked about. We talked about Ashley already. And we talked about Tamikia already, and then Rhoda, like I just mentioned before. So those 3 have already competed this past week. So we just looked at them already. Clearly going into this, Ashley would be your front runner going into this one. Oh, and Brianna, she was just in Vancouver as well. This one is for Chicago. So Chicago is a big one, right? Chicago is like a New York or a Tampa or a Pittsburgh. It's another big show. It's got all of the divisions here, every single one of them. And let me get back to Bikini. There it is. Okay. And while it's a small list, it's still very, very competitive. So we have Rihanna already on there, who has just won a show. So she is Olympia qualified already. I think I forgot to pull her up, but we just talked about her like last week. So she, in my opinion, going to the show, she is your front runner going to the show, is Rihanna. Then we have Hope. So Hope has placed top 5 recently. I think it was Dallas. She just placed top 5 or something like that. Didn't she just place in the top 5? Oh no, I was thinking of Christy, but anyway, regardless, she's still in the top call outs. So I was actually thinking of somebody else, but anyway, she's one you can look at too. Then we have, I did bring up Rihanna. Okay, Rihanna, clearly, like I said, she just won in Orlando. That's it. I was thinking Dallas, Orlando. She just won Orlando. So she's clearly going to be your front runner going into this. We've got Lizzie, who just competed in Atlanta, was 6th there. She's placed top 5 already this year. And then we have Koa. I decided to bring her up because she is making her pro debut. She just won the overall for 40 and over at Universe, which, typically I don't talk about that kind of thing, but that's a pretty significant thing to be paying attention to. I want you to pay attention to her because, again, she's over 40 going into the Open, like we were talking about before with Rhoda. Just because you're a Masters competitor does not mean you can't do well in the Open. So I'm curious to see how she does with her pro debut. And then Jessica's coming back. So Jessica has not been on stage since the Olympia. Had a long off season. She won the Masters Olympia last year. So she has won Chicago Pro in the past as well. So this is definitely one to be paying attention to. If I had to put my money on people here in this particular lineup, I would say it's going to be between Rihanna and Jessica. Those are my top 2. Rihanna being your front runner, with Jessica, just not being on stage for a little bit. But they both are going to be, and they're both very, very different physiques. So it's a matter of who's going to come in at their best, basically. So that is our lineup for Chicago. Anybody else that I missed? Anybody that I missed on any of these shows? You guys have been quiet tonight. You guys have been real quiet tonight. Is everybody in prep and tired? Is everybody tired? Did I miss anything? Anything anybody wanted to add before we end out tonight? And while we're waiting, like I said, our Sizzling Summer Suit Sale, scan right here. It's open now. Everything is 75% off. This is the last time that we are doing this sale. So if you want to grab one of these packages, you need to do so really quickly, because once they sell out, they're done. We're done. We're not doing it again. Okay? So grab it, scan it. The link is also in the description box here on YouTube too, so it's going to be there. Everybody's just tired. I know. I'm on my 3rd round of caffeine or something like that, just to stay awake myself. So I get it, understand. But Raven, you shouldn't be tired. You're not in prep. The summer suit sale, is it okay if you're in off season? No. Yes, absolutely. Because the thing with the summer suit, with all of our sales, anytime you purchase, they don't expire. So you can use them whenever you're ready to use them. I have girls that are competing this year that are redeeming their packages from 2020. So yeah, completely fine. Completely fine. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever expires. So when it comes to the suits. Any questions, you guys? And that's why we do those payment plan options for you as well, you know. Show Day Glow Spectacular. Is that... Message me off the live and I'll respond to that and we'll clarify. I'll clarify your question for you, or answer and clarify. We'll figure out what you're asking. Any other questions, you guys? All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna let y'all go. Because what did I think I said at the beginning? See, I don't even remember the days of the week anymore. It's Tuesday, and I think I said it was Wednesday at the beginning of this live feed. So y'all know what day it is, I hope. I hope it's Tuesday. It's definitely Tuesday. It's definitely not Wednesday. But with that said, you guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I gotta go eat and I gotta go finish my steps. So that's what I gotta do for the rest of the night. So I finished my cardio, but I gotta go get my steps in. Gotta get the rest of my steps in and go do my walk. So I hope you guys have had a great night. And if you haven't done so already as well, we did put out a new Behind the Bikini this morning with travel hacks. It's very useful. We have links to things you can purchase on Amazon that will help you with your traveling as well. So if you haven't looked at that, go check it out. We go through a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't even think about when it comes to traveling. So go watch that. Make sure, again, that you like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. And be ready, for those of you that weren't here at the beginning as well, I'm going to do a live watch for Tampa Pro because I'm not going anymore. So I'm going to get the live stream and I'm going to do a live like this and we're going to watch it together. But I'm not going to stream the actual live stream because I can't do that because it will get my channel shut down. But we're going to talk and I'll have the live stream playing in the background. I'll give commentaries if I was there. So we're going to do that for Tampa Pro. Okay, so be ready for that. All right, I think that's it. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week already. Go get some sleep.